We are joined on the line by Gareth Newham, who is with the Institute of Security Studies. Thank you very much for joining us, Graham. The NPA has decided to appeal a decision by the full bench of the Pretoria High Court in relation to the so-called spy tapes matter. What are the chances of them succeeding?
Well, I don't think that they have very good chances of succeeding because the High Court judgment was a unanimous judgment. It was written by the Deputy Judge President of the Gauteng North High Court, and it was the endpoint of 6 years of legal wrangling over this matter. And after considering all the evidence very carefully, these three very senior and experienced judges came to a conclusion that the decision to withdraw the charges was irrational and the NPA must proceed with the prosecution. So it's highly unlikely that the Supreme Court of Appeal will come to a different conclusion.
So is there a case at all, or is it just a wild goose chase?
Well, there's obviously a grounds that the NPA believes they have, so they all are entitled to appeal, and they will bring their reasons for this before the Supreme Court of Appeal, and only then will we know for certain whether any of those grounds, and I believe there are 6 grounds, have any merit. It's difficult to know exactly or predict what will happen, of course, but at this stage, it looks that likely that they will not succeed.
Well, sorry, I beg your pardon. The opposition says it's going to be against the NPA appeal, and they have now cast aspersions on the new NPA boss. What is your view regarding that?
Well, obviously, they party to this court case. They were the applicants and brought the court case against the NPA, so they would understandably be disappointed about this. And of course, as the head of the NPA, Shaun Abrahams, said, there will be criticism. I think for most people, the concern might be that the NPA has very hard evidence of corruption that has taken place. That evidence has been tested before the courts previously against Shabir Shaik, and he was convicted and sent to prison. So they really must just act in terms of the law and evidence before them, and they seem to be concerned about other issues, such as the separation of powers and a range of other matters that might not be completely before in relation to the merits of the case. And so they decide they're going to appeal it. This obviously is very favorable to President Zuma, because this will mean that this case will only be heard probably sometime next year. So it won't be a case hanging over his head or have any impact on the ANC as we go into the local government elections in August. So they must be very happy about this.
Right, so Shaun Abrahams now tried to clarify matters on the Pravin Gordhan arrest matter. Is it now a closed case?
Well, it seems to be, but of course that can change. There seems to have been a lot of pressure brought to bear, lots of leaks to the media about imminent arrest. We saw that on the front page of a weekly newspaper last week. Gordhan then responded to it, so this was obviously causing a lot of concern. And now we've seen recently that the Hawks have come out over the weekend saying they are not planning to arrest Gordhan, and you have now the head of the NPA saying they're not planning to prosecute him. But of course that can change, because there is seemingly an ongoing investigation that was clarified by the Hawks and NPA, and at any point that they receive further information or evidence, they might change their mind. So it's not completely over yet.
Well, Abraham's statement regarding Gordhan, I just want to quote from what he said earlier as we were watching him live here on our station. He said, let me quote, persistent speculative reports on the arrest of the finance minister. I do not want to involve myself with the political issues around this matter, nor to allow this institution to be put into such a space. And we need to make it clear we do not require a political go-ahead to prosecute anyone. Doesn't this add to speculation?
Well, I don't know if it adds to speculation. I think it really is what Shaun Abrahams is trying to do, is trying to end speculation. And he's saying that they will not make decisions based on any political consideration, which is correct. The NPA should certainly never make any decision based on a political consideration. It should be purely guided by the Constitution, the law, and the facts before it. However, we have seen over the years a large amount of political interference in the criminal justice system. We've seen irrational decisions being made by no less than the deputy head of the Public Prosecution Service, Advocate Nobo Jiba. 3 different matters, 3 different courts saying that she has failed to use her powers in the correct manner. and her standards fall far short of that expected. Even the judgment in the High Court said that Mokotedi Mshiya, the acting head of NPA at the stage, ignored his oath to act without fear or favour and independently. So there are many findings that show that as much as we would like to have a National Prosecuting Authority that we can all believe will only act without fear and favour, there has been enough evidence before courts and rulings that show that that is not always the case, and that is why there's so much speculation that the decisions taken by the NPA may be for reasons other than the law and the facts before them.
All right, we are speaking live to Gareth Newham, who is with the Institute of Security Studies, talking to us right here on News Today.